Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how to draft this asymmetric overbust corset. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So to start, here is my pattern paper and I've gone ahead to mark out all my basic measurements, which includes my shoulder to bust, which is 9, shoulder to under bust, which is 12, shoulder to waistline, which is 17 inches. For the top length, I added extra 5 inches after my waistline. So after I'm done marking that, the next step is to go ahead to mark the upper part. Here I'm going to mark my shoulder divided by 2, come down by 1 inch, and I will be connecting this all the way to the upper part of the shoulder to create a shoulder slant. So after I'm done marking this, the next step I'll take is to find my armhole or chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Mine is 7 and I will rule a line at that point. So after I'm done marking out, I'll go ahead to mark what I have on the shoulder, which is my shoulder divided by 2. My shoulder is 14 divided by 2, I have 7. And I'll go ahead to connect, draw a straight line. So at this point, I'll fold my tape this way and I'll mark. And I'll come in by ½ inch. Here, I'll go ahead to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. Now I'll place my curve drew and I'll connect this all the way to the upper part of my pattern. After I'm done marking this, I will not outline it. I'll leave it because we are also going to alter that part. So next I'll be marking my dart intake. So first we'll start by marking our nipple to nipple. So my nipple to nipple is 7 inches. And dividing it by 2, I have 3.5. So I'll mark this all the way to the lower part. Now I'll go ahead and connect this and also connect all the lines. After that, for the dart intake, I'll mark 1 inch here, mark 1 inch at the other side, mark 1 inch here and at the other side. So if you're a bit busty or you're on the plus size, you're going to go ahead to mark 1.5 inches here and at the other side. After you're done marking that, you're also going to connect it just the same way I am connecting this right now. So after I'm done marking, you want to go ahead and use your marker to outline this to make it more visible for you to see. Now after I'm done outlining this part, I'll go ahead to mark my neckline. So for the neckline, I'll be using 3 inches and I'll also mark 3 inches. So this is just serving as a guide to mark the shoulder dart for this pattern. We'll be using a shoulder dart for this part, and to do that I will divide the rest of my pattern into 2 this way. Place your tape and you fold and mark. Now from that point, I'll connect this all the way to the bust line of my pattern. So I'll go ahead and connect. After I'm done connecting, now I'll place my tape starting from that same line that I marked, and I'll mark 2 inches for the dart. Now that 2 inches I marked, I will replace it outside so that by the time I blend in my dart, that part I took out will be replaced by the other 2 inches that you're going to mark out. So I'll just go ahead and reconnect. Now to draw out the shoulder that we took out, that is, you're replacing that 2 inches, I'll blend in my line this way and I will mark that 2 inches. But before marking it, I'll come down by 1 inch or 0.75 just to match the shoulder slope. Measure it right back and you'll be connecting this right back into your armhole this way. Now this is just to replace the dart you took out. And after that, I'll just go ahead and I will use my marker to label this out. I'm happy that everything I do is for my woman. Anything I thought where you talk, I go do. So after that, I'll just go ahead to connect from the bust down to the under bust, and I'll also repeat this at the other side. So after I'm done marking this, I'll just go ahead to outline this. Now I'll start inserting my body measurements on this pattern. I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, pick a point at this dart, mark 1 inch, and I'll add ½ inch for sewing allowance. Mark my under bust circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake and mark ½ inch for the sewing allowance. For the waistline, I want to take out 2 inches from my waist. My actual waistline is 28 minus 2, I have 26. 26 divided by 4 will give me 6.5. I'll mark. measure the dart intake, replace, and add my sewing allowance. Here I'm going to mark my hip circumference divided by 4, and I will mark, this is for the lower part of this pattern, and after that I'll measure the dart intake, replace, and add ½ inch for my sewing allowance. Now I'm going to connect from the bust down to the under bust, and after that I'm going to connect this to the waistline, and from the waistline I'm going to connect to the top length. So after I'm done connecting, this is what I have. So I'll just go ahead to use my marker to outline to make this very visible for you to see. So this is what I have on the pattern, and all these marks I will be tracing it on the other side of the pattern also. So from the hemline I'll come up by 1.5 inches, place my curve drew, and I'll go ahead to connect. So after I'm done connecting, I'll go ahead to cut this out. But before cutting out, I'll use my marker to outline the pattern. And we are also going to mark a bust dart for this. So to get your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist at the front and your shoulder to waist at the back. My shoulder to waist at the front is 17, and my shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5 inches. So the difference is 1.5. I marked it and extended it to my nipple to nipple line. So now I'll just go ahead to shade out that part to indicate that we have a dart at that point. So after I'm done shading out, I'll just go ahead to cut out this pattern. And when you're cutting out this pattern, all this measurement that you have on this side, you're also going to repeat it on the other side of the pattern. So after I'm done cutting out, I'm going to go ahead to open up my pattern paper, and this is what I have. I'm going to connect from the armhole to this point, and I will be taking it up. Now I'll go ahead to blend up the dart, and I will extend this all the way up, and from that point I'll be taking it to the other side of the pattern just to create that asymmetric neckline we have at that point. So I'll just go ahead to blend this up and also extend it to the upper part of the pattern. So sorry, when I was cutting this out, the upper part was not showing. It's just to create a pointy tip at this part, and I'll just go ahead to connect this all the way to the armhole. So after I'm done connecting this is what I have. So I'll just go ahead and use my marker to mark this out. So if you have any question regarding this particular pattern drafting, please leave your question at the comment section. So after I'm done drafting out the neckline, this is what I have, and next we'll go ahead to cut out the pattern. So at this point, if you haven't yet subscribed, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and also leave your comments at the comment section. And you can also follow me on my other YouTube channel, which is Marky's Closet. There I do both sewing and drafting tutorial. So after cutting, you want to go ahead to blend in your dart for this dress, and you're going to use your tape or pin to hold it down, or you can just cut or slash the dart lines and pin it down. So this is what I have, and next we'll be moving over to the back pattern. So after this, we'll go over to the back pattern, and for the back pattern, I'm gonna head to mark out all the basic measurements. So remember the front pattern, our shoulder to waistline is 17 inches. Now, the shoulder to waistline at the back is 15.5. So that is how we got the 1.5 inches difference. And after the waistline, I marked 5 inches extra, making it our top length or blouse length. So next, I'll go ahead to mark my dart. And to mark the dart for the back, we'll still be marking that same nipple to nipple divided by 2. My nipple to nipple is 7 inches. Divided by 2, I have 3.5. Now I'll go ahead to mark this all the way to the lower part of my pattern. Go ahead to place my ruler, and I'll draw out a straight line. And I'll be marking ½ inch at both sides. Come down by 1 inch. Come down by 4 inches here for the darts at the lower part. Connect it to the lower part, and also connect this all the way to the upper part. And I will repeat the same process at the other side of the dress. Go ahead to use my marker to outline this. So after marking this out, we'll start inserting our body measurements. Now at the bust, I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, add the ½ inch for sewing allowance. So for this pattern you don't need too much sewing allowance. I'll mark the waistline we used for the back, measure the dart intake replace, and add ½ inch for the sewing allowance. Here I'll mark my hip circumference divided by 4 and add ½ inch for joining allowance. For this pattern, just like I said, you don't need too much sewing allowance. ½ inch is enough. So I'll go up by 1.5 inches just like we did for the front pattern, and I'll go ahead to connect this all the way to the lower part. After I'm done connecting, the next step I'm going to take now is to go ahead to use my marker, and I'm going to reconnect this. After I'm done reconnecting, I'll come down by ½ inch. This is to prevent the lacing bar area from popping up when you're putting on the dress. Now I'll take this all the way up, and the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead to mark the lacing bar area of this pattern, and to do that I'm using 1.5 inches. So this 1.5 inches is not a standard. You can comfortably use what you like. You can use 2 inches or 2 or more. So after this, I'll just make a dot to indicate that we have a lacing bar area for this. And after this, we are done drafting out this pattern. And the next thing I will do is just to go ahead to cut this out. So at this point, if you find this tutorial very interesting and very educative, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up, leave your comments at the comment section. If you have any question, also leave at the comment section. So after that, I'll go ahead to slash or cut out the dart, and with this we have come to the end of today's tutorial. Thank you, and also join us in our next video.